How exactly do you handle modern parenting challenges? Well, if you look closely at the animated series Omar and Hana, you are going to find a surprisingly brilliant problem solution playbook. This isn't just some colorful cartoon. It is literally a masterclass in behavioral management completely disguised as entertainment. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how the creators of this show use totally relatable family dynamics to tackle everything from everyday household squabbles to some incredibly complex modern hurdles. Let's dive straight into this explainer.
We're going to treat this as our modern parenting playbook. We'll be running through resolving sibling rivalries, dealing with tantrums, assuming the best, tackling gadget addiction, and finally, safe streaming for kids.
All right, Section 1, Resolving Sibling Rivalries.
So we start with the inevitable reality of sibling rivalry. The show uses a simple household badminton game between the characters Omar and Indra that quickly devolves into cheating and a fight over marbles. Now, to fix this, the show uses this really catchy, repetitive phrasing as a mnemonic device to instill the value of forgiveness. Instead of just lecturing the kids, the mother introduces this simple, repeatable mantra: shake hands and then friendship. It's brilliant, really, because it gives the children a physical action tied directly to an emotional reset. It makes the super abstract concept of making peace incredibly concrete for a young audience.
But, a catchy phrase isn't the only tool at play here. The parents in the show also enforce a strict, non-negotiable consequence, and an immediate timeout and the total retraction of their hard-earned marble rewards. They consistently enforce this rule to make sure the children really get that fighting just won't solve anything. The kids only get their rewards back once a genuine apology is made, so it's a very clear cause and effect approach to discipline.
Moving right along to Section 2, Dealing with Tantrums.
Okay, we have all been there. You're out at the mall, and your child suddenly learns a brand new skill. In the show, while grocery shopping, Hana watches a girl screaming to get what she wants. It is a classic case of monkey see, monkey do. The creators cleverly illustrate how kids are basically absolute sponges. Fast forward to the ice cream stand, and Hana mimics this exact screaming behavior to successfully demand a crazy amount of ice cream toppings from her totally overwhelmed father.
This moment brilliantly illustrates the friction in parenting styles. The father initially capitulates, right? He just gives Hana every topping simply to keep her quiet. But the mother steps in with a strict warning. She points out that simply giving in means the children will absolutely become spoiled. And, well, this warning proves prophetic because Hana immediately tries her new screaming trick again later, this time for donuts. But this time, the parents are a totally united front. Despite being in a public setting, and despite Hana's protests, they take her straight home and enforce a firm timeout on the stairs. They consistently carry her back every single time she tries to escape until she finally calms down.
All right, let's look at Section 3, Assuming the Best.
Managing a household dispute is one thing, but how do you manage a child's perception of the outside world, especially when they've consumed way too much superhero media? Well, the show introduces a specific faith-based concept called husnuzan. Husnuzan is the Islamic concept of having good thoughts and good hearts, and crucially, finding out the facts to get the actual truth. The parents use this concept to teach Omar and Hana not to just jump to malicious conclusions about strangers they see outside their house.
To truly hammer home the importance of husnuzan, the show contrasts it directly with fitna. Fitna is defined here as making assumptions or spreading rumors about someone without any proof whatsoever. The mother explicitly teaches the kids that assuming someone is a bad guy without any evidence actually hurts others. It is such a profound lesson in critical thinking and empathy, delivered in a way that children can actually grasp.
And this wonderfully illustrates the mundane reality that ultimately cures the children's paranoia. See, Omar and Hana had set these elaborate traps for a man they saw outside, completely convinced he was a villain straight out of their superhero shows. But the bad guy was actually just Mr. O'Neill, the plumber. The scary activities they observed, simply his normal four-step repair process: looking for the leak, digging, knocking, and fixing. It's a perfect, humorous de-escalation that shows the kids exactly why gathering facts, practicing husnuzan, is so much better than setting traps based purely on fear.
Now for Section 4, Tackling Gadget Addiction.
This brings us to a deeply modern parenting challenge highlighted in the source material. The show tackles this through a boy named Sufi who becomes completely addicted to his tablet. In an in-universe television broadcast, an expert character named Mui lays out a totally clinical list of warning signs: preferring to be alone, eating less, erratic sleeping times, a noticeable lack of eye contact, being easily bored and irritable, and even physical symptoms like eye and neck pain.
By literally listing these out, the show educates parents and children alike on the tangible physical and emotional tolls of too much screen time.
So the crucial point the source makes here is accountability, and it actually points the finger directly at the adults. The expert challenges parents, stating that the root of the problem is often parents who pander without setting limits. The message is incredibly clear. To help children recover from screen addiction, parents must take strict control, change their own leniency, and honestly, just be brave enough to face the tantrums that will inevitably come with setting those new boundaries.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Safe Streaming for Kids.
To really understand the scale of the creator's mission, we need to look at this massive number, 400 million. The creators state there are 400 million Muslim children exposed to the dangers of unfiltered media on mainstream platforms. Recognizing that just making one single good show wasn't enough to combat this huge issue, they were driven to create their own secure ecosystem, a safe streaming platform called Durio Plus.
When we compare the landscape, the difference is pretty stark. On mainstream platforms, the content strategy is largely unfiltered, broad entertainment, and the core goal is simply views and engagement. But the creators of Durio Plus argued this exposes kids to bad and ugly content. In contrast, Durio Plus operates on a strict strategy of filtered safety. They take popular shows like Baby Shark and filter them to ensure they're appropriate, while also creating high-quality original Islamic content. Their core goal isn't just engagement, it's to nurture an ummah, a community, with iman, which is faith, and ilm, which is knowledge.
I want to leave you with this really provocative question taken directly from the creators themselves. Who will solve this problem if it's not us together? Navigating modern parenting, especially in this wild digital age, just isn't something that can be done passively. Whether we're talking about managing sibling rivalry with consistent timeouts, teaching critical thinking over paranoia, or consciously curating a safe, educational digital diet, it absolutely requires an active, unified effort. So take a moment to really reflect on your own role in shaping the environment for the next generation. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.